Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 95. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and as always, I'm joined by Dory. How you doing, Dory?
I'm great. I would just like to note that we are the podcast to beat. We measure up like nobody else. We strike all the right chords, all four of them. And I'm not running out of musical puns. You are running out of musical puns. Yeah, we're going to be talking about People of Note today, which has so many musical puns, and I love it. System of a Gown has got to be one of my favorite musical puns of all time, and it's literally in the demo, but also in the early game. And of course, we're also going to be talking about the Triple I Initiative, which is a fantastic showcase in terms of its format, which is just no hosts, all games, very minimal breaks. It's breakneck speed at 45 minutes, although you wouldn't know that if you looked at the live stream, which looks like 3 hours, excuse me. Then we're also going to do some highlights, some spotlights. I played Pillars of Eternity, which was on one of the big, long RPGs I wanted to play this year on my list. And I played it, and it was awesome, so we'll talk about that first. And then to bookend things, we'll talk about Seb's experience with Crimson Desert. I don't know exactly how many hours Seb's gotten in. I think something like 20. But
Yeah, 20.
maybe more.
Yeah, 20.
Okay. 20. I cheated and looked at his Steam playlist recently because I was curious how far he was in. It should be a good show. I'm excited to talk about all this stuff.
Awesome. So let's start with a spotlight, which Dory has been playing Pillars of Eternity, and you have completed it. Pillars of Eternity is one of the best RPGs ever. I'm a big fan of the series. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. So Dory, can you introduce that game?
Sure. So from now on, we're going to try to be a little bit better about introducing games before just getting into pros and cons.
Yeah.
So in Pillars of Eternity, you play as a Watcher, a character who has been, I guess you can disagree, but more or less cursed with the memories of a past life, and you are able to connect with the past lives of other characters you meet along the way. Throughout this game, you engage NPCs alongside 8 other potential companions. You can have as many as 6 members of your party at one time, which is awesome. A lot of games limit you to 4, even 3, but this one has 6, which is really cool. You make impactful choices, and you fight a lot of enemies in real time meets turn-based combat, kind of like Dragon Age Origins. I also played the DLC, The White Plains, which introduced new companions, a new level cap. It goes all the way up to 16, I want to say, and also, of course, a new map. So that's a little bit about the game. I'll get into my pros for it. Incredible writing. I mean, this really shouldn't be surprising because it's Obsidian, but incredible writing. It's also 2014 or 2011 Obsidian, I should say. It's like 2010's Obsidian. I still think their writing is very good, but this is just, I would say, a cut above, Outer Worlds. As much as I love Outer Worlds, I would say the writing is generally better. But on the other hand, I would say Outer Worlds has more consistent voice acting and better voice acting and probably a better, more accessible, kind of approach. But anyway, we're talking about Pillars. Pillars of Eternity, incredible writing across the board, whether it's descriptions, just casually investigating something and reading out what it actually is, character dialogue with, just so much voice and flavor given to all of the characters, whether it's a random NPC or it's a boss or it's you or it's one of your companions. The narration that you get between all the different acts and also the DLC is handled very well too. It's just really good across the board. It's just incredible writing. It's what you expect when you play a TTRPG, and it's exactly what you get. Combat is very exciting, engaging. I was locked the fuck in very often in this game when it came to combat. I love it. It gave me the best vibes of Dragon Age Origins, which was around the same time as Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, which this game is trying to be a kind of a spiritual successor to, those kind of classic TTRPGs. I felt like it mixed real-time and turn-based in a very, very satisfying way. You go up to enemies, you attack, the game auto-pauses for you usually, and then you give them commands, and then they do it, and you can pause again at any other time. You can get a little tricky with things and press shift and do multiple commands in a row, but I never did that. I always did things step by step by step, and I found it very, satisfying. it's a TTRPG or a CRPG, I should be saying. But so the UI is busy. But I did feel like overall icons and symbols were simple enough that I usually knew what was going on, and understood the flow of battle and how to turn the tides, or if I was about to lose, and I lost quite often. Um, but yeah, the UI was generally intuitive, which I appreciated. Good, solid fantasy music throughout the game. I mean, nothing amazing, but I always really liked the tunes. There's the tavern tune, especially, is really funny to me because you always hear like the VO of some dude who's losing it by like laughing as hard as he can. So that always really amused me. Um, but yeah, good music. Pretty standard fare fantasy music generally, but some cool tracks. Voice acting, whenever it actually happened, was always great. I liked all of the voices I heard. Thought they were done well. Both the main plot and the side stories were both engaging and well worth investing. I mean, I'm not going to say every single side quest was a winner, but I mean, for the most part, I was always interested in what was going on with somebody. Wanted to help out another group. There was usually good rewards in it, lots of money or items or stuff I could sell. I also want to say that the way the game handles inventory is very, very nice to me. It makes for a lot less inventory management because, like, you personally can only hold so much, but then you could just put stuff in your storage and it just stays there and it's limitless. And I love that because I don't want to fucking do management all the time, and that's what Bethesda sometimes gets wrong. I just don't. I don't care about my carrying capacity. I hate that mechanic. I will always hate that mechanic. It's so tiresome. And luckily, Pillars doesn't do it. It's great. Now, I still did have to do some item management here and there because you got to sell stuff and you got to figure out if you want to put on new stuff. And some of that can be a little tedious, but I mean, it's a CRPG. What are you going to do? I think they made this pretty solid, especially for the time. Um, but yes, both the main plot and the side stories are great. And I thought the main story, the mystery of it was great. The plot twist at the end, which I won't get into, but I mean, if you played it, was really well earned and I thought was really cool. Is not a plot twist I saw coming. Kind of came out of nowhere, but felt like there had been a little bit of setup just prior to it, which could have felt like a cop out or something like that. But I really liked it. Maybe recontextualize everything. The companions are a lot of fun. I love Adair probably the most. The warrior character who's always cracking wise. He's a lot of fun. Aloth is super great with his split personality, magical split personality. Durance and Manea from the DLC, very good as well, especially in tandem with each other because she's always making fun of him. The world feels incredibly lived in and detailed. I mean, this really feels like a DM is taking you through their personally handcrafted world, and they are just giving you everything they've got with it, which is really cool. Obviously, this game takes a lot of inspiration from Dungeons and Dragons in terms of the system. A lot of the aspects of it are just basically D&D, which works great for me because I'm a dungeon master. My decisions felt impactful, and I deliberated over some big choices, pretty hardcore. There's a choice that you make later on. At the end of the game, there's a choice in the DLC. I think there's like one other choice too. Like, I seriously like had a bit of a moral dilemma about what I wanted to do and what was the best choice because there's no real. I hesitate to say that there's a right choice in some of these situations, but there are better choices usually. Even then, it's kind of debatable, and I liked how debatable it was in some of those situations. I'll give kind of one of them, especially kind of vague, but basically, you're in this temple, and you can choose to either drown these, people who have forgotten a lot of their memories, and they become old and a little crazy, or you can let them loose and let them go so that they can live the rest of their life in peace. And it's like, at first I was like, well, I should let them go. They can get revenge on the people who did them wrong. But no, it's just letting them into the wild. And so I literally went on fucking like Google searches and Reddits, and I'm like, what did other people do? Like, what should I do here? And I had some of those same issues with the ending too, with some of those, not issues, but like it was a good problem to have. So yeah, those are all my pros. Seb, did you have any comments or questions?
No, I don't have any questions. It's a game I've played several times, and I think it's one of my favorite Obsidian games.
Yeah,
So
very, very good.
that's pretty much it.
I will say one of my cons, the game can be incredibly hard at times. There are just times where I got so pissed.
Yeah.
There's a moment late in the DLC part 2 of it where you have this optional fight against one of the leaders of the bandits. It's totally optional. I didn't have to do it, but it was so difficult. One of the ways in which I got through a lot of the difficult fights, I just chunked it, right?
Yeah.
I just got some of those enemies to follow me away from their group, and then I took them out, and then that made the overall group easier, and then I swung in and I took care of them, right?
Yeah.
It's a tried and true method in RPGs. It works all the time. Well, for this one, I just couldn't do it. No matter how I approached it, they just kept attacking me as one group, which is smart, and I just kept getting fucking owned. I was like level 12 or 13 at this point. And the DLC really leveled me up. A level in this game is really a big difference.
Yeah, this game is definitely hard.
Yes, and I was playing on normal, and yeah, it was definitely frustrating at times. I felt like sometimes, especially early game, but also like some parts in the DLC, where it just felt kind of unfair in terms of how high the odds were stacked against you. Though that did make winning victory a lot more. I turned German there for a second. Winning was a little bit sweeter because of that. So not entirely a negative, but yeah, very frustrating at times. Part of that is because there's no explicit direction in terms of what order you should do things in. The game really just doesn't give you anything. It doesn't give you level requirements or advice on what order to tackle things in. And obviously it's a CRPG. It's trying to let you do things in whatever order you want, and I appreciate that freedom, but I also would appreciate if the game would be like, hey, you're kind of out of your depth here. Like, maybe come back later, There's just not enough of that in the game. I'm not going to say it doesn't have it at all, but it does have it every now and it doesn't have it enough. So, for example, I had some level scaling offered after I beat the DLC, and I went to the third and final area, which felt like the shortest area. But anyway, they were like, hey, you seem really high level. Do you want us to level scale? I was like, sure, let's give that a shot. And I 20 minutes later, I was like, no, fuck this. I was like, you know what? I was like 50 plus hours into the game. I'm like, I'm cool with just steamrolling stuff because I know the final boss is going to be really hard. And he was. It took me like 3 or 4 attempts, even though, according to the game, I was very over leveled for the third and final act. Or the third, yeah. So yeah, that became a slog. I did it. I think one of my biggest criticisms is the graphics. It's just not a nice game to look at. It's just uninteresting and drab, and there's just not a lot of color in it. There are some exceptions to this. I do think the White Plains DLC, the White March, gives it obviously a bit more color because it's up in the mountains. But even then, it's just kind of gray and brown.
Yeah.
It just gives me like the worst Xbox 360 flashbacks at times.
It's a 2015 game, but it looks much older than that.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, obviously graphics are only so much in a game like this, but still, it's worth noting.
Yeah.
By the end of the game, I would think I was at 55 hours, maybe 56. I was definitely ready to be done. It didn't go too, I'm not going to say it was too long or the pacing was bad. And I did do both the DLCs, so that's was optional. And I also tried to fight the boss under your keep that you get later on in the game. So some of that's obviously self-imposed, but yeah, I don't know. It's definitely some combat fatigue because everything in this game wants to kill you. Every fucking thing in this game has your number, wants the smoke, and is about to fucking fight you. And it's a little funny at first, but then it just gets annoying because everywhere you walk outside of a town, the deer are like, hey, you want some? The bears are like, you want some? The bandits are like, hey, you want some? I'm like, can I just walk 5 feet without getting into a fight with somebody who wants my fucking head off my neck? So it just gets a little annoying after all. The combat's so good, it's not like a huge deal, but like I said, that contributed to combat fatigue because I was like, okay, I love this combat, but man, there's so much of it in this game. Obviously, it is a send-up of a classic D&D and RPG game, so I get why they're like that, because in classic dungeon crawlers, like when D&D was still a new game, that's all you did was fight monsters. I mean, now it's a lot more about the social mechanics and and role playing and like having a character arc. But back in the day, when D&D was, 1, 2, maybe even 3, third edition, it was a lot more about literally being Dungeons and Dragons, like being a dungeon crawler, being about slaying monsters, getting loot, slaying harder monsters, getting better loot, and on, and leveling up and leveling up. There wasn't a lot about character arc, so I understand why it's the case, but the pacing could be better. I felt like either have voice acting or don't have voice acting. Like sometimes Pillars had voice acting, but then sometimes it didn't. And I'm like, I just wish you would kind of make up your mind, because I don't mind if the game doesn't have voice acting, but I also don't mind if it does. But I don't need both. Just make a choice. Um, Having my own fort was cool. Having my own kind of keep, but once it was done, once I did all the repairs, I barely visited it. I don't know. It wasn't that interesting. I also don't like. I know for some people this is like a cool thing in a fantasy world. I don't take any pleasure out of being a ruler of a keep. Like that's just I'm pretty leftist, so it just doesn't do anything for me as a fantasy. Like I'd rather, in a game, in a video game, very important qualifier, kill the rich and rob and overthrow the corrupt, than I would be the lord of my own keep. So that's just not super interesting to me. But that's very personal, obviously. I'm sure some people enjoyed it more than I did. I think the Watcher mechanic, ironically, is not it's not very interesting. You go up to people and it goes woo, like wub 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 wub, and then you get to know their fucking life story from 100 years ago. You will never meet this NPC again. It has no bearing on the story. It is walls of text that is completely uninteresting. I stopped doing it about halfway through the game. I'm like, I don't know what we're doing here, Obsidian, but this is not the move. I don't know. So ironically, I thought the Watcher aspect of the story was the weakest, at least in terms of like the actual gameplay mechanic where you walk up to people and you're like, hey, what's your life story? What was your soul 100 years ago? And the worst thing is you can't even follow up like most of the time. Like there are some exceptions in the story, but at least for NPCs who are walking the streets, who aren't like bosses or your companions or something, you can't follow up with like, oh, hey, did you know that in a past life, da 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 da. They did fix us a little bit in the White March. There's not nearly as many NPCs you can go up to and do that with. I noticed that. So I think that they already had gotten some feedback on that mechanic. And then the ones you do, usually you can follow up with it, which made it feel more tied into the game, to the story. So yeah, those are my cons. Anything you want to say about any of that?
No, I beat this game on the Xbox. Was it the Xbox One? And then I think I beat this on the Switch. I actually really enjoyed the Switch version. I think it's a must-play game. It has some problems, as you said, but I mean, oh, yeah, it's gonna be for a very specific audience. You gotta be into these kind of games, like very text heavy, very RPG heavy, a slower game, hard, that kind of stuff. But if you're into RPGs, this is like as good as it gets. This is among the best in the Western RPG genre, and
Yep.
and you can play it on the Steam Deck. You can play it on the Switch. You can play it. It's very accessible. It's on like every device. It's like I think it's on like every platform. So definitely go check it out if you haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
And the second game is also good as well.
Mm. I'm excited to play that at some point. But yeah, overall, Pillars, just an excellent TTRPG in the classic vein of Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, just as it was advertised. There are some frustrating difficulty spikes, a lack of direction, and drab graphical direction. But
Yeah.
when that combat hits and the characters talk, oh, so good. It's almost like nothing else. I'd give it a 9 out of 10 or a 4.5 out of 5. It's an excellent game.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best RPGs I've played in all year
Yeah.
or in a while.
The second game is just as good as the first one. Avowed is not as good, but Avowed is still pretty good. You should check it out if you like this universe.
Hmm.
In my opinion. All right. Is that everything?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so let's move on to the Triple I Initiative, which happened this week. We're not going to talk about every game in the showcase, as always, because we don't have all day, and also a lot of it we either knew about or that we just didn't have any interest in. But there's a fair amount of games to talk about. We have a lot of games in common, and there's some. I have like four games that I have on my list, and you have two games. And then we have 5 games in combined. So starting with Alcahest, which I didn't even know about, or at least I don't remember. So let me pull it up on Steam. Which I already did. I don't know why I got off it. All right, so Alcahest is an action adventure RPG set in a murky medieval world, where satisfying melee combat with highly interactive environments takes center stage. Explore realistic locations, learn alchemy, and make a name for your family. Now it says you master the art of alchemy. So it's the main complex game system of this game. It's like you follow a recipe and you mix gathered ingredients, and you can use it to throw. You can use it as a weapon oil. You can use it to it says plant into an NPC's pocket, or even drink it yourself. You can do all different things. Uh, the big thing to me is it looks really good. The visuals were stand out because obviously the show is very indie focused, and the indie folk games tend to be more retro looking and things like that. This game looked like a like big budget. It had very nice graphics. It had like Bethesda level. I was getting like Skyrim vibes,
Yeah,
or Elder Scroll vibes rather.
yeah.
It just looks really good. So, is this even an indie game? I mean, I guess it is indie because it's a smaller developer, but they're making a high quality game. Uh, well, the publisher has a fair amount of has a lot of games, so uh, they have done
Pathologic,
Pathologic, yeah.
the
So,
most recent one, I think.
but this is their first game. I think it looks good. So, what did you think of this game?
Yeah, I'm glad that you put this on your list because I apparently saw it and didn't think much of it or forgot about it. Then I watched back the trailer on Steam and I was like, "Hey, shit, this looks kind of good." Yeah, I just love the destructibility of the environments, how quick you have to be on your feet. The parrying looked good. The thrusts and the cuts looked good. You know, it definitely looked a little indie in some ways in terms of like some of the character movements. And I think obviously you're going to be fighting a lot of goblins, so I think there's going to be probably some enemy variety issues, but that's okay. I think it's more about how you do things than who you're fighting. But yeah, it looked really cool. I completely agree with you about the Elder Scrolls vibes, that first person swords and sorcery, although there's no sorcery here, it's alchemy. So you're mixing stuff. I like that you can like throw it at a door and melt it, so maybe that'll open up new pathways that you couldn't go to before.
Yeah,
You can another part, they smash like a oil drum and then dipped like your quiver or your arrow in a nearby lamp and then shot it and then it set the goblins on fire. I mean, it's I know it sounds basic, but like for a indie-ish double A studio to be doing this stuff and doing it so well, I think is really cool. And you just don't. I don't think you get to see a lot of games like that still really emphasize that kind of environmental,
yeah,
action.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. It says it doesn't have a release date yet, so we don't know. Maybe it's coming out this year. Maybe it's coming out next year, but we'll see. It looks like it's done. It looks pretty complete, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just curious on the length. Like, is this a big open world game? Is this a linear game? Like, is
It
there
does say in the
open world?
and I like this part by the way. It says that immerse yourself in the journey. We are players ourselves and believes in quality over quantity. So a big no to a bloated map and dull filler quests, which is very cool. We strive to create a highly interactive and believable world with semi-open world locations packed with secrets and adventure, with branching gameplay options inspired by Dishonored, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and other genre-defying games.
Yeah, it does. It is tagged as open world on Steam, so it might not be like Crimson Desert big, but it should
Yeah.
be big enough to explore. So, I mean, it's my kind of game, so I'm very interested in this. Like, this looks awesome. So, this is my favorite game of the showcase, actually.
Nice.
All right. So the next game on the list is Castlevania Belmont's Curse, which we already knew about, and it's a new Castlevania game, and it looks awesome. I mean, Castlevania is one of the Metroidvania games. It's literally in the name, right? There's Metroid, and then there's Castlevania. This one has cool whip action. Like there's a lot of platforming. You use a whip to get to places. It takes place in medieval Paris in 1499. There's a large selection of weapons and abilities to use, and there's a lot of environmental hazards you have to dodge. And the big thing about this game is the new art style. This game has a really cool art style. It's different. Uh, the colors really pop in this game. This looks like an awesome handheld game. I don't play a lot of Metroidvania. It's not my favorite genre, but there are some really awesome ones like Hollow Knight and Metroid Dread, which was my game of the year actually when it came out. And this game is going to be one of those awesome Metroidvanias I'm going to play and enjoy. So I'm very looking forward to this. I'm happy Konami's giving us more games in these franchises. Castlevania is one of the marquee Konami franchise for them, so I'm very excited for this. So this comes out this year. We don't know when, but I feel like this would be a great September October game, personally.
Yeah.
Any comments on this one?
No, I think the art direction is incredible. Metroidvanias are not my thing, even if it's literally Castlevania. Evil Empire, they did, well, first off, incredible reference because I love that album from, technically Evil Empire Studio, but it's a great reference to Rage Against the Machine. Or I'm pretty sure it is. The color and art direction are great. Of course, Evil Empire was behind Dead Cells, and they were behind the Rogue Prince of Persia, which was reviewed very positively. Maybe they just did Rogue Prince of Persia. I thought they also did Dead Cells.
They did the Dead Cells DLC. Not Dead
Oh,
Cells.
they did. Okay, that's what I'm getting confused. But anyway, they did the Rogue Prince of Persia, which was very well received last year.
Yeah, they did.
And
They did the Castlevania DLC for Dead Cells, and that probably inspired them to make a new, or inspired Konami to make a new one.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So the next game is Dead as Disco, which we actually both have on our list, and we've talked about this game before, so we don't have to go too much in detail. But the main thing is, it's basically like Batman Arkham Combat, but you sync it with music, and you counter and punch and kick with the beat of the music you play. Now it has its own soundtrack, but you can use your own custom soundtrack. So
cool.
People are gonna have like endless amounts of gameplay footage and songs that they play. Any song, right? It's gonna be, you're gonna see a wide range.
And I was watching some of the interview what they did with Easy Allies, and like it's very easy to find out what a song's beats per minute is online. You just look it up, and most times it's very easy to find. So I can't wait to put post math rock, hypercore, electronica on there, and it'll play perfectly.
Right, and you can customize your character, a bunch of different costumes and stuff like that. And it says customize your home away from home, the dive bar, by collecting memorabilia from past and present. In the process, unlock the true story of what really happened to the band. So I guess there's a story. There's definitely a story to this. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of this could be like another Beat Saber, right? Like Beat Saber is one of those games like it's just infinitely playable no matter what. 30 years from now, people will be playing that. This game is just gonna be a blast to play. I mean, it looks a lot of fun. I've had my eye on this for quite a while, and it's coming out next month on early access, so May 5th. So definitely keep your eye on that. Anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, important to note, it is coming to early access. It says that that it'll be in early access for about a year, and they'll adjust based on the feedback they get. And then it already according to them, the early access version will deliver hours of unforgettable action, take down bosses, unlock dozens of skills, cosmetics, and collectibles, and build your set list from 25 plus tracks, including licensed bangers and streamer safe OSTs. That's another cool thing that they're doing too. And the price will be different from when it's there's a demo out now too also. But yeah, they're going to increase the price once they put all that feedback into the newer game, of course. It looks cool.
Absolutely. All right, the next game is Valor Mortis, which we talked about as well. It's a first-person action Souls-like from the creators of Ghost Runner. It says, rise from death as a former soldier of Napoleon's army, wield supernatural powers, battle horrifying monsters, and unravel a conspiracy that threatens all of humanity. So the big thing is, as I talked about before, is the visuals look awesome. I love the art style. I love the atmosphere. I love the concept of like zombies mixed with like a Napoleon time, and costumes and things like that. It just looks like a blast to play. I'm very interested in the story. Uh, it says there's a combat system of parries and dashes and visceral finishes across a variety of weapons. Channel your power to enhance attacks and unlock new supernatural abilities to inflict upon your enemies. It says navigate a 19th century alternate history where the costs of endless war have corrupted the landscape. Use your newfound mobility to outmaneuver the plague-ridden abominations of Napoleon's Eternal Guard and uncover environmental secrets that may increase your chances of survival. Witness a compelling story where historical figures and realities intertwine with elements of horror and supernatural. Explore beyond the dark corners of the world to discover the truth behind the plague and your unholy resurrection. So the gameplay looks really fun. I imagine the main thing is, Dory, that doesn't appeal to you is the Souls-like combat of it. Because
Right.
it's a Souls game, but in first person. That's what appeals to me. Because that's not done that often, if at all. So I'm very curious how they pull that off.
Yeah.
But it looks very fun. So I'm very excited
Look,
for
look,
this.
I'm not interested in the game, but I gotta fucking give all the props in the world to one more level because I have never seen a dev go from one side of the spectrum to the other side of the spectrum so heavily. Like this couldn't be more different than Ghost Runner, at least in my opinion. Right? Obviously, there's some similarities because you can only take a couple of hits in Ghost Runner, but I mean, other than that,
Yeah.
this is such a different game. The time period, the focus,
Yeah.
the genre influences. I mean, I hope honestly, just because of how hard of a swing this is, I hope they knock it out of the park. It's not for me, but I hope they do awesome with it because this is such a cool thing to do to really go outside. I mean, they not only did Ghost Runner, they did a sequel to Ghost Runner. So, like, to just completely move away from that and go in a super different direction, I gotta respect it.
Absolutely. Ghost Runner did not appeal to me. I tried both of them. It just doesn't click with me. But this looks like
Yeah,
more up my alley compared to those games. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it gets good reviews, and then if it does, I'll possibly get it day one, depending on what's going on around that time. But it says it's coming out this year, so we'll see. All right, the next game that is on both of our list is Long Gone, which we also have talked about in the past. This is like a narrative 2D pixel retro version of Last of Us. That's the vibe I'm
yeah,
getting. It's very The reason why I say that is because the environments are very green and plant life is growing everywhere. Just the color and the art style looks very Last of Us. Um,
yeah,
even the main character
yeah,
reminds me of Joel.
yeah,
So I think they clearly know what they're doing with that one. But I'm also
yeah.
getting Days Gone vibes because like he's getting chased by a giant crowd of zombies all at once.
Hmm.
Last of Us kind of does that, but not like as cartoony, of course. This is up my alley. I love zombie games. Zombies is one of my favorite genres of horror. It says an intimate narrative web. There's a story-driven adventure where you uncover the forgotten lives of the residents of Corvid Hills through the items they left behind. So you piece together the past and uncover the truth. So that makes me wonder if like you're playing as different characters, and then you see their stories in the apocalypse. You have a feline friend. You have a cat. You have a pet cat that you take care of. It says it says it shifts between 2.5 platforming in the streets to fully 3D exploration inside houses. With no combat, every zombie encounter becomes a puzzle to solve. So you can't even fight back. You just have to solve a puzzle to get around, to overcome the obstacle. This has the beautiful lo-fi 3D pixel world blending adventure games, platforming, point and click interaction, and item investigation. It is a fully interactive investigation. You rummage through every drawer, cupboard, box, and cabinet. You read notes, collect objects, combine items, experiment with what you find. Very survival horror like Last of Us and Resident Evil. There's a it says a kooky cast. Seek out other survivors hidden away in Corvid Hills. Oh, and there's some zombies shuffling around. Watch out for those. They bite. So it's my kind of game. It's the point and click. It's the survival horror. It's zombies. I mean, it has the whole package. There's even like platforming because he's getting chased by giant crowds of zombies. I mean, it has everything that appeals to me, and it comes out next year. So why is this game on your list?
Yeah, I mean, similar to you, it's very The Last of Us.
Yeah,
Even Long Gone kind of sounds like The Last of Us in a way in terms of like meaning and phrases.
yeah.
I'm not super into point and click puzzle games, but if it's accessible enough, then that's fine. We'll just have to see on that front. But yeah, I think it's also partly published by Outer Sloth, which I love Outer Sloth, so that's great. Yeah, I just think it's a send up to zombie games. I'm always up for that. I love a good zombie game. So yeah, I mean, as long as it's not too tough, or as long as there are good accessibility options, I'm probably pretty interested.
All right. So the next game on my list is Far Far West. It says it's a chaotic 1 to 4 player co-op shooter. You journey to the far, far west to blast monsters, sling spells, complete missions, and collect bounties. Work as a team to get in, get paid, and get out mostly alive. So I think it looks like a fun game to play with friends. It has even has like horse combat or horse platforming. It has a lot. The gameplay looked fun with the shooting and all the spells and the chaos on screen. There's a lot of pixels going on, a lot of colors popping on screen. It's really cool to look at. It looks really good. It looks like it runs very well. It just looks like a blast to play. It says shoot fast, spell faster, and survive together. It says switch seamlessly between 6 shooters and fireballs. Customize your gear. Combine your spells as you face waves of enemies and powerful bosses. You work as a team, adapt on the fly, and push deeper into the unknown to unlock bigger challenges and bigger rewards. It says you can customize and upgrade your gear. You said trade at town to upgrade your guns, spells, and abilities. Pick your perks to build the ultimate bounty hunter. Specialize in spell damage, healing, or headshots. Customize your robot cowboy and beloved steed with unlockable skins and traverse the far, far west in style. I mean, it looks really fun to play. Like that's the main thing for me. It comes out this month on April 28th. So we'll see. I'm curious how the people are going to review this game, but it looks really good. Do you have any comments about this one?
No, it didn't really stick out to me. I don't play a lot of co-op games anyway.
Yeah, no worries. All right, the next game on my list is Windrose. Now, I'm very unsure on this game, but I wanted to shout it out because of how it looks. It looks really good. The art, it just really pops how realistic the shading and the colors they use looks. It stands out to me. Now, I'm curious if I would like this kind of game because it seems like it's kind of like a survival crafting exploration game, but
Yeah.
still, the way it looked just popped to me, and it might be fun. I'm always on the lookout for an actual good pirate game because a lot of the times they disappoint. They just don't hit like I want it to. But it says conquer the seas, so there's like ship combat. Uh, it says equip and customize your ship to suit your playstyle. There's vibrant, diverse biomes rather. Gather resources and build your own taste from simple shelters to elaborate mansions. So it's like a crafting game. It's like you literally build from the ground up big mansions if you want, if you're that creative. But it also has like hack and slash, batter, and shoot your way forward, master a wide arsenal of melee weapons and firearms, parry and dodge enemy attacks, chain different strikes, and keep an eye out for new gear including sabers, rapiers, halberds, great swords, pistols, muskets, and more. You can shape your own combat style through talents and flexible loadouts and with unique armor sets. Use food and potions to gain powerful buffs. Test your skills against a wide range of enemies and challenging bosses. Defeat them. Claim your treasures. And it says it is fully playable solo offline, or you can play in co-op with friends. It supports up to 4+ players with both self-hosted and dedicated servers available. Procedural generation will make each journey stand out, but if you prefer just one character and progress is carried over between different worlds. This is a pretty big game. I'm very interested in this. It looks like it's usually not my kind of game, but I just something I wanted to shout out. Maybe I'll keep my eye on it. It's published by the people that did Pal World, so that there's that.
Gotcha.
They also did that Dead Take game with all the big actors. Do you remember that game?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have that on my in my library.
Yeah, but this is the developers' first game. Their names are even Windrose Crew, so that they have the same name as the game. So there's that.
Yeah, that's how you know it's the first.
Yeah. So I'll just keep an eye out. It comes out in 3 days, so we'll see what it gets for reviews, and then we'll go from there. All right, the next game on our list is Alabaster Dawn, which we both have on our list. We've talked about this game plenty of times.
Yeah. I even played the demo for it, which was amazing. So I'm very excited for this. It is releasing in early access, and according to the devs, it's going to be in early access for at least a couple years. So don't expect this game to be done anytime soon. I know it says May 7th, 2026. But I'm not really sure it's going to be actually done until 2028, based on what they said. So that's kind of a bummer for me personally, but I loved the demo, and maybe 10 hours of up until the mid game is enough for me. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So it's a 2.5 action RPG. It's from the creators of Crosscode, if you like that game. It's very stylish. It looks amazing. You solve intriguing puzzles and you explore the world. I mean, everything about this game is just so pretty to look at. It looks fun. Dory said the demo was awesome. It was great.
Yep.
So go check it out. The only thing that sours it for me is, as Dory said, is the early access, because like how much of the game are we getting on May 7th? I don't want like a.
They said it's in the FAQ about early access. They said like the first 10 hours or something.
Okay.
Like that'll put you into like the second act or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I play this game in pieces, I might like enjoy it that way. Like, oh, okay, so I get to play 10 hours this year, and the next year is like 10 hours again. That kind of thing. Maybe I might enjoy it that way. But I don't know. I usually don't like to get games in early access. I only have some exceptions that I've enjoyed early access, like Baldur's Gate 3. But otherwise, I prefer to wait for the complete game. So we'll see. But we're both very interested. We're probably day one. Like if it was coming out fully on that day. All right. The next game is Neverway, which is, we've talked about this game like 5 times.
So much. I would just I want them to stop showing the game and just work on it until it's done. October 2026 is when it's coming out.
Yeah, perfect release window.
Also published by Outer Sloth, so good on them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a horror farming simulator game. That's the only thing that doesn't appeal to me, is I'm not a big fan of farming games. So I'm just like rooting for the game more so than being excited for it, I guess.
Yeah, I can't say I'm over the moon about this because of its life sim elements, but at the same time, like I can't say I'm also not interested in it at all. So yeah. I want to back up Seb on that.
Yeah. All right, the last 2 games is on your list, Dory.
Yeah.
Which is Thick as Thieves is the first one.
Yeah. So Thick as Thieves is a stealth action heist game. You can see why I like it. Playable solo or with a partner in crime and co-op multiplayer. Master the art of thievery through cunning gameplay and short session missions in this dynamic new take on stealth. Obviously, I've talked about before, I'm a little mixed on stealth gameplay. But I still think that the heist aspect kind of wins me over, even though I'm not huge on stealth all the time, and I can still enjoy stealth things, right? I've talked before about how I loved, I liked Dishonored quite a bit. I liked aspects of Deus Ex. I also, enjoy, I'm trying to think of other stealth stuff that has stealth in it.
You mean like in general, any game, or just like...
Yeah, any game that I've played. Metal Gear Solid,
Splinter
of course.
Cell, Metal Gear Solid.
Cell. There we go. Yeah. Those 2 as well.
Dishonored.
Dishonored. Yeah, I did say that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hitman. I was trying to think of Hitman, yeah. And then I forgot, and I was like, "What the heck was I trying to say?"
Have you ever played Thief?
No, I haven't played Thief, but this is by Warren Spector, who was the developer on one of the main developers of Thief. So that's partly also why I'm interested.
You play the Styx games?
No, but yeah, that's another one that the Greed one just came out to mostly 7s and 8s. So seems decent, but would be tough for non-stealth aficionados.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So this game was almost gonna be on my list. I'm just not a big fan of like multiplayer, but if you can play by yourself, then maybe. But
yeah, I'm not like in love with it, but I do love a good heist. And Warren Spector obviously has some pedigree, being the studio director of Deus Ex and Thief: Deadly Shadows, and they also have the producer of Thief: The Dark Project and Thief: The Metal Age. So there's some stealth pedigree here. Not saying all those games are incredibly, are incredible or whatever, but yeah, it comes out May 20th. We'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. And then the last game on the list is Prove You're Human, which I almost put this on my list because I'm just intrigued by it. But Dory, you did, so why is this game on your list?
Yeah, I mean, this was an Insta ad for me. This is by Sunset Visitor, who did 1000 Times Resist or 1000x Resist. I love 1000x Resist.
My first, that was the first game I beat this year.
Yeah, excellent game, excellent game. Seb can tell you the same.
Yeah.
I will admit I added it to my list more so because of the publisher or the dev than the people the gameplay I saw, because I'm not really sure what the fuck to make of the gameplay.
Yeah.
But basically, the game is that you are it's a very simple premise, kind of. An AI dares to dream that she is human, and you've been hired to put her in her place, which sounds pretty fucked up. But yeah, Prove You're Human splits the main character in two, and you drew the short straw. You're the digital copy of a person who is paid to test a corporate product, but the product is convinced it's as human as you are, maybe even more. So you spend your days in a comfortable virtual world learning about Mesa, breaking her defenses, and eliminate her delusions. When you're not working, roam the land and capture your environment. Get it? Get to know the various employees working hard to ensure everything goes smoothly. Keep up to date on your corporeal body, who will spend her days living the life you've always dreamed of in the outside world. And at the end of the program, you decide if you'd like to remerge your two selves or discard your work self. Look, this game's fucking weird, but I loved 1000x Resist. So if this is what Sunset Visitor wants to do, fuck it, I'm in.
It's also from the publisher that did Slay the Princess.
Yes.
So the big thing about this game is it has a good track record of both
exactly
the dev and the publisher. So
as far as I'm concerned, this is pretty much indie royalty working with indie royalty, because I also love Slay the Princess. So it's more of I was in before Sunset Visitor said anything, then they put this weird shit on there, and I'm like, you know what? I'm there pretty much day one, unless I don't know, it's horrible. Maybe but I can't imagine that.
Maybe she'll be the most likable AI robot since GLaDOS in Portal.
Right.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's definitely freaky. It feels like a game that would come out like 2000 Dreamcast or something. Like, it's just insane.
Yes. It feels like that fish game.
Yeah. I mean, they capture everybody's favorite thing to do when we're logging into websites.
Yep.
So we'll see. I don't know what to make of it. It's just crazy. Big thing for me is the price. I feel like this game should not be overly priced, right? Like, if it's a good price, then it's something to check out.
I think it should be $20 or less.
Yeah, that sounds right. All right, so overall, not an amazing show, but enough that appealed to both of us. There was plenty of games to talk about. Most of the games we talked about, we already knew about anyway, but they just gave us more of a trailers, more gameplay of it, or more footage, or just gave us like interviews with the post show. I didn't really watch the post show because I'm just not a fan of like interviews like that, unless it's a game like I'm like super obsessed with. Like, I'll watch something about Resident Evil or something like that, but I'm not going to sit through a 2-hour show with just interviews. So I thought it was like a 7 out of 10, maybe 6 out of 10 kind of show. Like, it was fun. I was satisfied.
I agree with that. For the record, 1000 Time Resist on no discount at all is $20. So I think that will be a price point that they aim for, but we'll see.
Yeah, how much was Slay the Princess? Like $20 too?
Good question. It is on sale, 45% off. Holy cow! It is normally $18, but right now you can get it for under 10.
Yeah, so this game's probably gonna be like $15 to $20. Safe bet.
Yeah, then that's a steal, by the way.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to Dory's second spotlight of the night, which is People of Note. This is the new game that you've been playing.
Yep.
So, can you introduce it, please?
Sure. So, people of note, this is a linear musical turn-based RPG where you play as a girl, the woman named Cadence. She is trying to make her way in the musical world by winning the noteworthy contest. Along the way, she discovers she needs a band to have any real shot at winning said contest, discovers new friends and enemies alike. This game focuses on turn-based and strategic combat that can feel very challenging at times if not handled with care. There are also a lot of musical performances and music puns galore. It is mostly a lighthearted romp through a world powered by music and the people who live in it. So I am 14 hours in, according to a walkthrough of YouTube that I've been looking at, not spoiling myself. I have around 2 hours left. I really wanted to finish it before the podcast, but I was unable to because last night I had to work on my D&D campaign. But if I had, I would have finished it. Oh well. I'm basically in the end game at this point. So I can talk about this in a very educated way. Maybe plot wise I can't, and like I won't be able to talk about obviously the end game.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty much, in the last couple hours.
Yeah.
So let's get into the pros. The soundtrack is, as you expect, a bop. There is amazing K-pop battle themes. There's metal. There's country. There's electronica. There's rap. There's so much good music from the soundtrack. The soundtrack, not the music videos or the musical numbers, are actually the star of the show here for me. I enjoy way more of the soundtrack than I do actually of the music video styled solo performances that characters give to kind of do exposition.
Yeah, this is this is the kind of
ahead.
game. This is the kind of game where music has to shine, right? Like,
Yes,
it wouldn't be as good if the music was bad.
and I don't think the music videos are bad, but I do think the soundtrack is much better, and I'll talk more about that. But yeah, and there's a couple of music videos I think are strong, but most of them are just kind of. We'll talk about it. One of the late game songs literally made me cry from laughing. It was there's a Backstreet Boys knockoff band called Smolder, and they're like your enemies from day one, and they just harass you throughout the whole story. And I don't want to give too much away, but they do this song that's kind of a parody of those classic boy band apology songs that you would do when you like admitting you're wrong. It was so fucking funny. I was dying. Like, Kim was coming in the house and I was laughing my ass off. Like, it was so funny. So some of the writing's very strong is what I'm trying to get at. The game is not afraid to be silly or goofy. I think it succeeds more than it fails when it comes to its sense of humor. I think it does it very well. So I really appreciate that about the game. The turn-based combat is fulfilling, challenging, and surprisingly deep and strategic. There are special meters, time signatures to tell you how many times you can attack, and ability to recharge through an action called rest, items to modify your loadout, upgrades that you can do through points, special traits for each band member. I mean, it is surprisingly deep how hard this game goes into RPGs. It is not a facade. Like, this is not, oh, it's a musical that just happens to have RPG elements. I would say this is a turn-based RPG that happens to have musical elements.
Yeah.
That's not entirely fair, but yeah, I lean that direction more than I lean the other direction.
Yeah, Steam compares this game to Metaphor and Expedition 33 on.
I would also make those comparisons. I'll talk about why in a little bit, but yeah. The voice acting and writing are generally solid. I'm not going to say it was Pillars level or none of it blew my mind or anything like that, but I enjoyed these characters and the challenges that they have to go through to grow as people. The graphics are bright. Oh, go ahead.
Is there like full voice acting, or is it just mostly text boxes?
It is almost entirely voice acting, which is very impressive for a indie studio where I think this is their debut game. I could be wrong though.
But it's not their debut game, but they've only made one game before this.
Okay. But yeah, still, I think almost everything is voice acted. There might be some
2 games.
There might be some exceptions for like NPCs and stuff. But generally speaking, all of the main cast are voice acted consistently 100% of the time, or like 99% of the time. Like I said, some exceptions may apply. Yeah, let me go back to my notes. The graphics are bright, colorful, and fun to look at. I mean, they're not they're not amazing, but they're nice. This game is clearly made by people who love and truly appreciate music and want to share that passion with others. I mean, I'll talk about this later. There are so many puns, so many musical references, cultural references. It's just a love letter to music, and I really appreciate that. No matter what genre. The puzzles can be a fun distraction if you really want to invest in that. I don't personally care for them and think they subtract from the game and its pacing. But yeah, you can turn off the puzzle difficulty at any time, so it's not a big deal. The rhythm-based attacks feel fair. The mashups are cool specials that save me more than a few times 14 hours in, so I appreciate that. Being able to choose when random battles happen is such a great idea, and I'm sure other games have done it too, but I don't see it a lot, and I love seeing it here. You can just, I forget exactly what it's called, but basically you strike a chord or something like that, and then the enemies come rushing at you, so you can just grind as much as you want. Haven't really used it. I don't like this game that much that I want to grind for a ton to face bosses, so. And then, just so many puns. They say, we gotta keep things measured. We gotta beat them. System of a Down. One of the characters is named Cynthia. Obviously, the main character is called Cadence. The metal musician is called Fret. There's some other ones that are a little harder to see. Like Cadence's friend's name is Sarah, and I won't give away the joke there, but it's just like there's so many puns. There's so much wordplay, and a lot of the creatures that you fight in this game have really cool puns. Seb, there is a reference I know you will love and appreciate. I was laughing so hard. This happened recently in my game, so it's late game. But one of the bosses late game does something that's very, very obviously a reference to something you and I both love. So I think you'll enjoy that if you do play it, and I do recommend this game overall. But those are my pros. Anything you want to add or say?
I have a question for you, but you answered it in the cons, so I'll let you say it then.
Okay.
About the story.
Cons. I think the game has kind of a pillars issue. There's just some of the bosses are too tough. I had to fight the guy who I fought on the demo, by the way. There's no demo crossover progress, which I think is lame. They should have just had me skip that whole section, and then I wouldn't have had to fight the boss 5 times on normal. This is where the Metaphor Fantasio Expedition 33 thing come in, by the way. I'm not going to say it's as hard or necessarily in the same way challenging, but it is frustrating sometimes where it's like some bosses just do ridiculous damage. I played on normal. That boy band I talked about, Smolder, one of their characters did 75 damage in one turn pretty early game, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, they had a few turns to like power up and like boost their stats and shit, but that's because I was frantically trying to heal from their previous attacks. So after like 3 or 4 attempts, I'm like, fuck this, I'm going on easy. I didn't have to go back on and then I went back on normal after the fight, and then I didn't have to go back on easy for quite a while. But then some of the late game fights are just kind of tedious. They don't necessarily make the bosses harder. They just give them more health points, like another review mentioned, and it's just kind of tedious. It's not terrible, and your attacks are doing so much damage that it kind of scales okay. But it does feel like we could pace this a bit better, and you could make this challenging without doing that. So yeah, that's a frustrating aspect to me. And then on another con, it suffers the problem of less party members, more problems is what I'm going to call this trope, which Pillars of Eternity and other RPGs also have. But unlike in Pillars, when you can kind of just get the companions as early as like the first 5 hours, and there's literally a guide for it, like I said, it's a linear game. You can't decide when you get your companions. The game decides for you. So if it's like 4-on-2, it's fucking 4-on-2, and you're not getting any more companions to change the tide of battle. Now, once you do get more companions, it does feel a lot more manageable, especially because some of the mashups, as they're called, are really powerful and can really help you out in a pinch. I especially like the one that gives half of everyone's HP back to them. But you've got to work up to that mashup. You've got to get enough damage in that your mashup meter gets filled, and then you can do the mashup. I will say one of the negatives is the story. I just don't feel like this game is saying anything super interesting. It's just saying that, and I agree with the message, I guess, but it's just very surface level. It's very, the industry is driving very simple music, and it's all the same, and I'm going to be different, and I'm going to make a difference in the world, and I'm going to get together with my friends, and we're all going to change the world and save the world. It just feels so trite and cliche, and it just doesn't really ring true to me. It doesn't really work on a general level for me. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's intolerable or cringe or whatever, but it is kind of like, it's not the game's strength, is what I would say.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, because one of the parts I look forward to in an RPG is the story.
I know, me too. And again, it's not terrible. I wouldn't even say it's bad. It's just like, it's mid. It's okay. It's not great. It's definitely not great. It's okay or good sometimes. It just plot twists are predictable. I immediately knew who the villain was. I immediately knew who one of the characters were. Like, the game's just not doing anything super interesting that you haven't seen before. And characters either have personal growth way too quickly, or they don't have growth fast enough, or they don't have growth at all, or because they're just fine the way they are. So it's just kind of frustrating on a character level and a writing level, which is why I didn't mention it in the pros, really. I will say some of that character growth being kind of too quick is, I'm not a big musical fan. I think that's one of the big problems with this game for me, and it's very personal. Obviously, that's on me because I'm playing the game and I bought it and whatever. But we bought it, actually. So part of that is like, people breaking into song is always going to ruin my immersion. It's always going to feel goofy. It's always going to feel unnecessary. I never understand what this accomplishes that we couldn't just get by having good paced, natural dialogue. But people like it, and music theater kids, please don't come for me, okay? I'm sorry.
I love musicals, so that's why that's why this game appealed to me, and why I split it with you.
But it's like, I talked to you about one of the characters and one of their struggles, that they go throughout the game. And it's like, in just a couple musical numbers, it's kind of resolved and doesn't really get brought back up in the game. And I'm like, that's not something you do with that kind of subject matter. Like, that's just not how you handle that. I just didn't care for it personally. The evil group feels just mysterious to be mysterious. Like, there's so many times where it's like, and Seb, I'm sure, like, you've said this literally about other games, if they just fucking talk for a second, like when we talk about Life is Strange, then everything would be either solved, or like we would know what's going on.
Exactly.
Either Cadence won't talk about her mysterious flashbacks that she's had, or she won't put together the very obvious villain in front of her who is dressed like a fucking sorry, I'm getting into spoilers, but it's very obvious who the main villain is. I'll say that. And then sometimes the game will just lampshade like, oh, isn't this side diversion or puzzle very annoying? And you're like, yeah, it is. Why are you doing it? Just like, I hate that when people lampshade stuff and they're like, look at this. Isn't this annoying? And you're like, yeah, it is. Why did you put it in the game and then tell me it's annoying when you knew I'd find it annoying? That doesn't make it less annoying. So that can be annoying. I feel like some of the level design could be better. As a couple of examples, early on when you're in the rock kind of area, which is in the demo too, you go all the way to the end of the base, and then to push a couple levers and do this puzzle, whatever. I'm not a big fan of the puzzle, but I'll get to that in a second. And then you have to walk all the way back. It's not a huge deal, but it takes like a minute or two, and it's just like, there could have been a slide or some shit. I don't care. Like, I'll suspend my disbelief. Just get me back to the start within a couple seconds, please. Yeah, no fast travel, nothing. It's a very linear game, so there's really no need, but sometimes it can be confusing. And then another point when you're in Lumina, which is like the EDM electronica city, there's like, you go to this club to go to downtown, to go to further downtown, just to go all the way back to the club. And I'm just like, it feels like, to quote Simon Miller, a a wrestler and somebody who does YouTube videos, I felt like I Google mapped to my own fucking house. Like, why the hell? What was the point of that? I went from A to B to C back to A. But anyway, stuff like that. Just level design could be a little better. I did have some bugs, nothing major, but a couple times I did get stuck while trying to do puzzles. I just started a random battle, exited out. The game doesn't penalize you too heavily for that. And it fixed my movement. So not a huge complaint.
Does it autosave or does it do manual old school?
There are auto saves, but you can also manually save whenever you want. Thank goodness. So
Okay.
I haven't lost any progress of any notable kind. So that's been good.
Okay.
The last thing I'll say, and this is a very short note, but it's very impactful. I find the puzzles generally annoying and just not interesting, and just feel like they're padding. I just feel like they could have gotten rid of these rhythm stones or whatever they're called, and just made it so you just go through an area and fight guys. Like, I understand they're trying to break up combat, but the combat is good enough that I don't really need that. Just get rid of the puzzles and keep the same amount of enemies, or boost the amount of enemies by 1 or something, or make the encounters that are right next to treasure chests harder. I don't know. I just feel like the puzzles are kind of inconsistent and frustrating more than they're helpful. But the reason why this was a short note is because you can skip them. You can just turn off puzzle difficulty, and as long as you leave the area and come back in, it's solved for you. It's not a big deal. I love the accessibility options. If I didn't already say that, I want to say that here. It's great that you can change it at any time. I think even in the middle of battle, you can change it, which is kind of nuts. I don't know how the game handles that, because I never did it. But you can. I went in the settings, and I noticed that you could do it even in battle. I don't know if that would work, but yeah. And yeah, even some bosses on easy. I did a couple bosses on easy. Even then, I got my ass handed to me. So not as much in the middle late game, but early and one boss in the late game, I just this is ridiculous. This game doesn't need to be that tough.
Yeah.
I am currently sitting at sorry, clearing my throat. Something like a 7.5 or an 8. If it's an 8, guess what, Seb? It's probably a Starfield 8.
That's what it
an
sounds
8 that
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, if it's an 8 that if you look at it really hard and stare at it kind of very deviously, it'll kind of shift into a 7.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very solid, strong 7 or a very weak 8. I'm between the two. It all depends based on how this last act goes. I will say, I meant to talk about this too. Last thing for the cons, the music videos aren't that great. Which is weird, because that's the whole point of the fucking game, is to have these solo songs where people talk about their problems and their character exposition. But to echo another Steam reviewer, it's too heavy on the exposition and not heavy enough on the lyricism. I just feel like it meanders a little too close to exposition, and not enough to actually focusing on making a good song that is lyrically valuable in some way and saying something cool. I do think that Vox has a pretty cool song. I think that there are some cool moments with Fret and Cadence's duo. But some of the other stuff, like Cynthia's imposter syndrome, it's just too on the nose. It's just too much subtext becomes text. You know what I mean? It's too much exposition for me personally. I don't think it's bad, again, but it's kind of appropriately for Cynthia. It's kind of mid. It's not as good as it should be. I think my favorite song by far is the song, ironically, by Smolder, which is the "I'm Sorry, Girl." It is just so fucking funny. It is one of my favorite songs I've heard in a video game in a long time. But they kind of just struck gold with there, and then kind of took bronze and everything else, if you get what I mean. So it's a shame, because I think they could have done much better. But yeah, I still think this is a pretty good game. Maybe a great game. Depends on these last 2 hours. I could sour on it, or I could say, yeah, this is like a Starfield 8. But that's the best it's going to be, is a Starfield 8. It's not being any higher. There's too many flaws and problems with this game, for me, personally.
Yeah, it sounds like this is a 7 out of 10 or a 7.5, because you have a lot of cons. for 8 out of
Yeah.
10. For 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. That's why it's like a really weak. If it is an 8, it's a really weak 8, and it would have to be a very strong finale, which
yeah,
I'm not sure this game is going to. I'm not sure this game is going to announce.
it aligns with the reviews. I mean, it has an 81 on Metacritic, and it has a
Yeah,
6.0 on the user scores. So it's probably somewhere between the 6 and an 8. So that lines up
yeah,
with like a 7 or 7.5, I would think. Um, I think GameSpot gave it a 7 out of 10. But other places gave it a 90 and
yeah.
85 and
I mean,
80.
on their let me try to go to their store page because I remember they have something for all the reviews they've gotten. Yeah, they've gotten. Oops, where is it? Dang it! Oh, it's just on the thing, but okay.
It's very
But it's
positive.
like there's a bunch of 9s, 4.5s, 95s, 90. Uh, uh, yeah, they don't highlight any of the 4s or the 7s, of course, but yeah, it's kind of hard to read. I wish they would just make that a little easier, but yeah.
Yeah, so this is a game for a specific person. All right, you have like
Yes.
RPGs and like musicals and these kind of games. So yeah, it's not gonna have a giant audience. But I
No.
trust Annapurna, and I'll check it out. I haven't played it yet because I was waiting for you to finish it, so we don't have to like take turns and do all the.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, I went.
I don't want to do that with this game. I like it, but not that much. It is standing right now at very positive based on 129 reviews. I would also recommend it, so I would add to that. Very positive score. 86% is positive. I think 86 is a bit high, but I'm much more critical, I think, than some of the other people are in the comments.
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure. There's a reason why I split it with you. So I love
Yes.
musicals and I love
I'm very
RPGs.
glad we split the game. I don't think I would have regretted $22, but I think I would have been on the fence about regretting it. $11, no sweat.
Yeah. All right. Is that everything before we move on?
Yeah, let's move on to Crimson Desert.
All right. So the last topic of the night and the main event, the main topic of the night is Crimson Desert, which is one of the most divisive games I've seen ever. I've seen opinions that range from this is one of the greatest games ever made to this game is dog shit and it sucks. So I don't. I've never. There's very few games that are that divisive. This is like one of those movies. Like the first movie I think of is like Napoleon Dynamite, where like people either love that movie or they think it's like one of the worst movies ever made. I was always more on the. I think it's one of the best movies. Like I just appreciate the humor of it. But people hate that movie. I think this game is like that. Like you're either gonna love this game or you're gonna hate this game. Um, Even though I say that, I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's not bad. I don't think it's anywhere close to bad. It's definitely there's too much going on for it to be bad, and it does a lot of things good to be bad. But I don't think it does anything that's incredible that I put it in my game of the year talk or anything like that. To me, it's like I'm spoiling my score already, but this feels like a very 7 out of 10 experience, 7.5 maybe. But I'll talk about why. So the introduction to this game is that it's a big open world action RPG. It's an action open world RPG. Like this game is not just open world. It's like humongously huge. I mean, this game makes Skyrim look like a linear game. This game is like almost too big. There is so much to do, so much to explore. This map is humongous. You might as well just travel to planet Earth and play this game because that's how big this game is. Um, you play as Cliff. He's a mercenary leader trying to reunite with his scattered group after a major attack. So the game starts off with his whole camp getting attacked. Now they try to set it up like all to like make the characters likable and like you feel like setting it up like you feel bad for these characters and you want to reunite with your characters and everything like that. But I think it does a poor job of doing that. The storyline is not good for me. I think Cliff. Okay, I'll spoil it a little bit because it's like the first like 20 minutes of the game. Cliff literally gets his he gets attacked. They get attacked by a group, and like they all get like basically killed or kicked into the river or whatever. Cliff literally gets his throat slit, and then kicked into a river, and then it cuts to him like waking up. I don't know, weeks later or months later or something like that. I don't. It's been a while since I've done the beginning, but it's just like he kind of just like, oh, I'm normal again. I'm like, you're not surviving getting your throat slit. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're in a fantasy setting. You're not surviving your throat getting slit by a blade. It just once you bleed out, in like seconds and you're dead. Like I just know human anatomy. It's not gonna happen. I couldn't like just believe that you can survive that in a fantasy world. Like there's some things you just can't do, right? Like it just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
That's so funny too, because in the D&D game we had today, I was playing a creature that like suck its. I'm sorry to be gross, by the way. Skip ahead if you don't want to hear really gross gore stuff. But like it, like stuck like their nails like they were sharpened in like someone's neck, and then they like came back anyway because they just got a potion or some shit. But anyway, that's so funny. But yeah, yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, if there's any place you don't want to get slashed at is your neck because you'll bleed out and die pretty fast.
Yeah.
All right. So you travel across the continent of Pywell. I think that's how you say it. You take on quests, fight enemies, and you uncover the conflicts happening across the world. The game focuses on exploration and action combat. You can roam through large, and I mean large, environments, take on side activities, battle powerful enemies, interact with different factions and characters along the way. So let's get to the pros. So I already hit on a pro. It's a giant open world game. Like there is so much to do in this game. This game is going to be hundreds of hours. It's like an MMO. I mean, it's made by the people that made Black Desert, right? So of course they have experience with making a giant open world, but there is so much to do. There's giant towns and battles and random events. Like there's so much going on in this world. It feels like a real breathing world. They did a great job with that. There's so much to do in this game. You have to like this kind of genre. I can see there's a reason why people don't like this, but I'll get into that in the cons. But or I can I guess I can get into it now. It's a big open world game, so it's like if you don't like open world games that have no direction and you kind of there is waypoints and stuff, but I mean like it's kind of like Breath of the Wild where it kind of just throws you in there. Yeah, it gives you a waypoint, but you kind of just walk and ride your horse or whatever, and then something might happen on your way. It's I see a comparison on Steam and it's perfectly compared. Dragon's Dogma 2. This game is like Dragon's Dogma 2. Not as good as that game. Even that game wasn't an amazing game. It was a good game. It had issues, right? But it just random things happen. It's like fantasy Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Like you're just riding your horse and then there's just some event that just happens. Like it's the same thing with Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 2, you just be riding or walking and all of a sudden a dragon just flies in or a griffin comes and attacks you out of nowhere. That's what this game.
Fucking drop kicked you from the sky. I've seen clips. It's
exactly.
Hilarious.
That's this game too. This game is the ultimate sandbox fantasy adventure game. It's just so much to explore and so much to do. Okay, so the best part of this game is the beauty of it. The graphics are incredible. The landscapes, the lighting, the weather effects. It's very immersive and very impressive. Like you can take infinite amount of screenshots of this game. This game is gorgeous. So that's probably the best part of this game. Combat is a mixed bag. When it clicks, it's awesome. The combat is fast, flashy, and it's satisfying with combos and abilities. There are so many crazy clips I've seen. There's so many builds you can do. I've seen people play as Doctor Doom. I've seen people play as Sub-Zero. I've seen people play as Scorpion. And there's so many different playstyles. I've seen people do hand-to-hand combat that look like Scorpion. I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. Like, it's the creativity that people can come up with. There's so much you can do with that.
Plus, you can. I mean, Randy Orton's kind of low key problematic, but you can fucking do an RKO to people out of nowhere. I mean, that's fucking sick, dude. I've seen the clips, and I'm like, I have negative interest in this game. It is absolutely not my thing, and I'm not even going to try it. I was thinking about trying it. I've seen enough at this point. I'm like, it's not for me. I don't. People say Red Dead. I'm like, that's not a game for me. People say what was the other game you mentioned? The fantasy game. Dragon's Dogma. Yeah, Dogma, not for me.
Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Not for Kingdom Come Deliverance, not for me. Yeah. Breath of the Wild, I'm sorry, not for me.
Yeah.
Just like it ticks every single warning sign. But when I see somebody jump out of the fucking sky with your wings out and shit, do an RKO I'm like, that's fucking sick. All right, we gotta respect the craft.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts of this game is the sandbox. It's just the crazy things you can do. This is like Just Cause of fantasy games. Have you ever played the Just Cause games or know of it? It's like that. I mean, you can ride a dragon. You can fly places. I mean, there's so much to do in this game. I think that's one of the reasons why it's a mixed bag for people is because you have to like this kind of game. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 was a big simulation game where it's slow. You walk across a giant map on a horse, and it's like 10 minutes of walking on a horse. But people love that immersion. Um, Other people hate that, right? Other people just want to fast travel everywhere. So that's one of the reasons why people don't like this game. With that said, I know I'm kind of combining the pros and the cons together, but you have to mention it. I've compared this game to all those games, and even you can compare this game to The Witcher 3 as well. I'm comparing all these games, Breath of the Wild, Red Dead Redemption, all those games. But this game is still not even close to those games. Like, those games are all masterpieces. Like, those games, I would put 9.5, 10 out of 10 level games. Like, almost all of those games are in my top 50 games of all time. So, this game is not even close to that. But if you like those kind of games, this is you're gonna like this game. I think not guaranteed, but you're more likely to like this game if you like those games. If you don't like those games, like Dory, you're not gonna have any interest in it. All right. As I said, there's lots to do, side quest, activities, and a system that keep players busy for a long time. There's hundreds of hours in this game. I'd imagine they're gonna have DLC. They're adding patches to fix it. This game's gonna have long legs for people. It has very positive reviews. So the funny thing is, people of note, right, has 129 views on Steam, right? This game has
Correct.
45,696 reviews,
Jesus Christ.
but it's very positive. They fixed a lot of things, and people have started to have a more positive view on this game.
Yeah.
I think this game is falling into that Days Gone category where when the reviewers played it, it was a hot mess that needed a lot of patches and fixes. And then after people played it, the reaction was a lot more positive, but the reviews were already out. I think this is a similar situation, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I wanted to say earlier, by the way, this might be my last chance to say it, so I really want to get it off.
Sure.
Fucking respect to that IGN guy who did a 6 out of 10. I mean, no offense when I say this, braver than the motherfucking troops for putting that out there and sticking with it too. Because that dude, I know he got death threats. There is no way he didn't get death threats for giving Crimson Desert a 6 out of 10. I also wouldn't be surprised if some review publications, not necessarily IGN, do a reappraisal for Crimson Desert at some point. Although that might set a bad precedent, but I don't know. But that like Seb said, they've. This is absolutely not for me, not my kind of game, and I know that, and I would hate it. But props to the devs because they're putting in that work for the patches. They shouldn't have released the game if it was in that state, but better late than never, better never late, right? So I appreciate the patches. I appreciate them putting that work into the game to make it more usable, and it reflects. I mean, I would argue with 44,000 people, but am I actually going to in practice? No. Props to the devs. Putting in that time, putting in that effort. Obviously, it's paying off for them because they went from mixed. I remember I was looking at it. I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a disaster. To now it's very positive because they did those patches and they, fixed the bugs and the crash, a lot of the bugs and the crashes and performance stuff. And tightened up the controls a little bit, although Seb will get into some of the, existing issues that are still there. But anyway.
Yeah, so I haven't had any problems with bugs or crashes, or the performance has been solid. I haven't had any problems. So they must have fixed a lot time I've played it. All right, so the cons. I already said some of it. The story is mid. I just don't care for the characters. I don't care for side characters. I don't care about the story. It's just not clicking. And this kind of game, I need the great story because what do all the games I mentioned in the past have in common? Dragon's Dogma 2 wasn't the greatest story, but it was okay. But Witcher 3, masterpiece story. Red Dead Redemption 2, masterpiece story. Breath of the Wild, masterpiece story. And the list goes on. This game ain't that. This story is mid. It's incredibly mid. I don't care for the character. He kind of reminds me of the protagonist of Final Fantasy 16, and not even close to as good as him. I just don't care for this character. I think he's just blah. I wish they could have did better with that. There's just too many mechanics. in this game. I just think they just throw every fucking thing at the wall and hope that sticks, and that's basically this whole game. They just shove way too much in there. This game is just too overly ambitious, in my opinion. Like, there's nothing wrong with a big open world game, but this is beyond that. Like, there's just too much going on, in my opinion. It's gonna be overwhelming for most people. I think most people are gonna play this game for like 5 to 10 hours, or maybe less, and be like, this is too much for me. I can't commit to this, and they're gonna drop it. Um, Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe more people are digging it now, but like I can see a lot of people being like, "This is just too much for me. I can't commit to this." Because this game is incredibly slow in the beginning. It takes forever to get going. You don't the game really doesn't start until like you're 8 hours in. That's when you can do all your combos and your skill trees, and then the gameplay goes from like 0 to 100, and the gameplay gets like quite fun. But in the first 8 hours, and I think why a lot of people have a negative impression of this game, it's so freaking slow and tutorials and explaining everything. Even 20 hours in, you're like barely into the game. It's like I put more hours in like half the games you mentioned on this podcast in the last like 2 months combined, and it's still like still going along, right? People of note, you're gonna beat people of note in a shorter time than it's taken me just to get it going in 20 hours. So
Yeah.
it's incredibly slow. Um, the controls are incredibly clunky. I think the big thing is the platforming. What were they thinking, including platforming in this game? This game was not designed for platforming. There are sections where they want like you're literally like 100 feet in the air, and they want you to jump across platforms, and it does not respond. He moves like he's walking on molasses. Like it's like that Red Dead. It's like if you put a platforming section in Red Dead Redemption 2. Like all of a sudden he's just jumping like Mario. It doesn't work. You can't do that, and that's what they did in this game. It makes no sense why they did that. It's so frustrating. I don't know why it's so hard for me just hit the A or X button and hit him to jump across the platform. Why is it so bad? I don't understand. It should not have even been here. I know they're fixing a lot of things, but yeah, it's not great. The combat is very mixed bag. When it clicks, it really clicks, and when it doesn't, it's clunky and a mess. The boss fights are very frustrating. They're very hard, and the mechanics are annoying. And right at the beginning, the first boss, like in the beginning of the game, is like annoyingly hard, and it's like this is not a good way to introduce your game where people get frustrated. It doesn't click. All right, and then overall, the design just feels messy. The concept of the game, it should be awesome on paper. In my opinion, this game should have been much shorter, open world, but not that open world. And they should have just focused on fixing the story, cleaning that up, cleaning up the gameplay, cleaning up the performance, which they've done now. Um, but I know there's gonna be a small audience that just loves this game because it has everything they want. There's certain people in gaming like that just play like 5 games a year, right? And they just put like 300 hours into one game. This game is perfect for those people. Um, I'm not one of those people. I like to play different games, different experiences. I like to play hundreds of games if I can throughout the year. So this is the kind of game I'll beat in like 50 hours or whatever, and then I'll move on. I am not committing to a giant DLC. It's just not clicking with me. I did that with Skyrim because the story was awesome, the characters were awesome. I just love everything about that world. The Witcher and Kingdom Come Deliverance, like everything. All those games have just amazing everything. Besides maybe the gameplay, those games had gameplay issues too. This game lacks gameplay and it lacks storytelling, and it's just too ambitious for me. So it's a Starfield 8, I guess. 7.5 is the best way, is where I'm leaning on. But as I've gotten deeper into the game, my score has gradually gone up. It was a 7, then it was a 7.5. So maybe like in 20 hours from now, I'll think this game is an 8 out of 10, and I'll have it in my top 10 or something like that. But who knows, right? So my review is still kind of like in progress because like this is the kind of game where like 1 20-hour playthrough is not enough to give a whole opinion of this game on. But I think for me, I've enjoyed just seeing clips of people's creativity more so than I've enjoyed playing this game. Like I just like seeing people's gameplay videos on TikTok more than I've enjoyed playing this game, and that's basically how I'm gonna remember this game. Is oh that was awesome! The guy who was dressed as Doctor Doom riding on a bear and doing these awesome combos, and not what I was playing, because I'm just not. It's just not. It's just way too overly ambitious.
I've seen some clips from a YouTuber, Storm. I forget her whole username, but she's been playing it, and she has like you can pet cats and like pick them up, and like you can like put them in funny costumes and stuff like that.
That's
like
awesome.
People,
yeah.
Yeah, like people who love that stuff, you're gonna fucking love this game because there's so much. It looks like, seems to me, there's so much shit like that. The little cosmetics and animal companions that you can have. Plus, you can you can just throw animals off the fucking ledge and they just die. It just doesn't seem like you should be able to do that. But yeah, it's a. It seems like it's got some niche things that will really apply to appeal to a niche audience. And I mean, obviously, 44,000 people like the game. Well, not all of those people like the game, but you know what I mean. Like 80+% of those people like it. So
yeah, the view of this game is shifting to more positive. A lot of people like the patches, and they really fixed a lot of things. So if you hate this game,
it's sold very well. I mean, whatever you want to say about it, it is sold very well. 83% of 84,000. So
yeah,
that's pretty good.
So my review is kind of like to be determined. Like it's still changing. Maybe in 20 hours from now, I'll like, oh my god, this game was awesome. Like this happened. So we'll see. But right now, it's. I think it's a good game. I just don't think it's a great game. I don't think it's close to the games I've mentioned. I don't think it's a bad game though. I don't think anyone says this game is trash. I don't. There's too much good in this game for me for it to say it's trash or it's bad. Like the graphics and the gameplay is fun a lot of times, and the world's beautiful. There's voice acting everywhere, and the voice acting is not bad. I wish the story was way better and the characters I don't care about, but yeah, it's pretty good. That's why I'm in the sevens, because I just can't say, because if it's in the eight, I would say it's great, and it's just not that. But I can't say it's like 6. It's like average mid game. I don't think it's that either. So a 7.5 sounds right to me as of right now. But who knows? Maybe it will change. All right. Any questions before we close up the episode?
No, I think you reviewed it really well. That all makes sense to me. Yeah, I enjoyed honestly hearing you talk about it because I was curious kind of where you stood on it. And yeah, it absolutely has been very divisive. I remember watching some Game Ranks videos and hearing Falcon talk about Crimson Desert, and I could just hear in his voice how much he hates this game. So which was very funny to me because he's usually not like that. He's usually a pretty positive person. So I was like, damn, who the fuck at Black Desert like shitting your biscuits, dude? Or whatever the I forget.
Yeah. I can't even remember
what they're called.
I can't even remember the last time I gave a bad review to a game on the podcast. Like I think I generally.
I mean, it would have to be a Lost Soul Aside, right?
Yeah,
I would think.
Yeah.
Even that. But anyway,
but even that game wasn't horrendous. It was just very disappointing.
Right.
It was very disappointing.
Sure. But divisive. But I mean, it's finding its audience. It's selling really well. So good for them. Glad they're patching it. Totally not for me. I will never play this game ever, and I'm very happy not playing it and going back to people of note. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so that concludes our episode. Next week, we probably won't talk about it because I don't think it's enough time to talk about it, but Pragmata comes out on the 17th, so it comes out this week, which feels very soon, but it comes out this week.
Yeah.
So we're probably better off waiting a week to play it because I don't think it's enough time.
Well, and not only that, Mouse PI and Replaced are both coming out on the same day, so I won't even have time to talk about it.
Yeah, so we're going to have to pick and choose what we want to talk about, for sure.
Yeah, Mouse PI is coming out the 16th, so a Thursday, which is still kind of cutting it close for the podcast, because usually we record on Saturday.
Yeah.
Although we'll see if that is true next week. And then replaced is also the 16th, I believe, or maybe the 15th. It's the 14th. So we could definitely talk about replaced. Maybe we could talk about Mouse PI if it's not that long of a game, but I don't know.
Yeah, replace will likely be the thumbnail next week, and then Pragmata
Yes.
will be the thumbnail after that.
Yeah. And then I don't know about Mouse PI, but we'll get that in there somewhere because Seb and I are both interested.
Yeah, I'm very curious about the reviews. I feel like I've beaten that game because I've seen it so much. I feel like I've seen the whole game at this point.
Yep, I know what you mean.
It was every
That's
showcase.
how I feel about Neverway.
Yeah, Neverway too. I've seen that game at every single showcase for the last 3 years. It feels like.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. You all have a good night, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Bye, everybody.